everybody, Mike Iaconelli here for Tackle Warehouse, doing my tackle recap for Lake Travis. Lake Travis was an important event for me. It was a turnaround event. I was doing pretty poorly in points. I went into that tournament, had a great finish, had a top 20 finish, and was able to really get some momentum shifting the other way. We hit Lake Travis during classic post-spawn conditions. Fish were coming off the bed. They were moving to their deeper summertime areas. And one of my favorite ways to catch them in the post-spawn is, you guessed it, a topwater. And almost every one of my big fish at Lake Travis, including a 4+ pounder the first day and a 5 pounder the second day, all came on a topwater walking bait. You know, they're feeding on a lot of shad in that place, and it's a real easy way for those fish to fatten up. There was also a lot of schooling activity around the marinas, especially in the morning. And I used a bait that mimicked the forage perfectly. It's a lure by Rapala called a Skitter V, and it's a spook style bait, but it has a few key differences that I really like. You know, the first one is the profile. If you look at it, it's short and compact. It's about 4 inches long, and it really mimics the size of the forage they were feeding on, 3 and 4 inch shad. But here's the real key, and if you turn around and look at this bait, you're going to see it's keel shaped. It's actually got a pointy V shape on the bottom. It's not round like a cigar. It's got a keel. It's got a point on the bottom. And that V-shaped point allows me to walk that bait real easily. And that was key. They wouldn't eat it if it was coming straight across. It had to be walking. The other thing about the Rapala Skitter V that I love is the sound. And it's tail weighted so that when it's paused, and I like to walk it and pause it, it'll sit in that tail down position. That's awesome because you get better hookups. But what they use to tail weight it is a single ball, and listen to it. It's that one classic one knocker, that one big rattle sound. And that really drew a lot of strikes from fish that were 10, 15, 20, even 30 or 40 feet in some of the marinas suspended. They'd hear that single ball. So that was real important. So Rapala Skitter V, shad colored bait, especially on the bottom. I wanted it white. I fished it on a braid to fluorocarbon leader. For my braid, I went with Berkley Trilene 40-pound braid. It's a little lighter braid. I love to throw topwater on 40. And to that braided line, I attached a short. If you look at that, it's probably 12, 14 inches long, a short 17-pound mono leader. And for my mono, I went to Berkley Trilene Sensation. And the reason I use that little mono leader is twofold. The one is so if you tie direct to a bait with treble hooks to braid, has a tendency that braid will wrap up in those treble hooks a lot. Mono will wrap up a lot less, will keep the bait walking. The other reason I like that little leader is mono has stretch. And at the very end of my cast, that 12 or 14 inches, I want a little stretch. So when that fish blows and I set the hook, there's a little bit of a delay to let that fish get the bait. You know, finally, the rod and the reel. I used a rod that I designed for Abu Garcia. It's the Abu Ike series rod, and it's a brand new model in action for 2018. We're going to be launching it this year at ICAST. It'll be available for pre-order at Tackle Warehouse, coming to you in August. And it's a 6/8 topwater twitching style rod. And it's actually composite. And if you look at this rod, it is half fiberglass, half graphite. And I want you to look at that tip. It's very soft. And when I'm fishing any treble hook bait, especially a topwater, I like that more limber, soft action. Let that fish get it before you set the hook. When it gets close to the boat and it's fighting, it has the play to land that fish. So 6/8, medium action, delay rod, Abu Garcia Ike series. And finally, I went with a good old standby. This is the Abu Garcia Revo Premier in a 6/4-to-1. And the reason I went down in ratio is I wanted to slow myself down, force myself to be more methodical on that walking the dog presentation. Mike Iaconelli for Tackle Warehouse talking about Lake Travis.